Established in 1862, Cooper's beers have been perfected over generations. To celebrate our 160th anniversary, I'm visiting some of Australia's oldest and most successful family businesses to meet the next generation entrusted with carrying their traditions and values into the 21st century. Today, my guest is Jack Hutchinson from Hutchinson Builders. I'm Andrew Cooper and this is Aussie Originals. So Jack, thanks for having me here.
No dramas at all, Andrew.
Great to be with you. Mate, can you give me a bit of a history of Hutchinson Builders, or Hutchies, right?
Yeah, sure, mate. So Hutchies was established in 1912 by my great-great-grandfather. So he was from Lancashire and Brewery. He came over on a boat in 1911 and won his first building contract, which was a kitchen refurb at Fort Lytton in 1912. His two sons then took over in the 30s. My grandfather later, and then my father in 92, who still chairs the board today.
Mm-hmm. And so you're a fifth generation family company today?
Yeah, fifth generation, correct. So it's 110th anniversary.
Fantastic, great milestone.
Yeah, no, it's a big one. Yeah, we had a great big celebration for the centenary, obviously, but every 5 years we try to have a celebration too. We're
celebrating 160 years this year. We're having a bit of a party for that, but I like the sound of a party every 5 years. Yeah. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
You spent some time outside the business, saw a bit of the world. You've now joined the family business, and Hutchies would benefit then from the influence and energy that can be brought from a family member that has a bit of a custodian mindset, perhaps.
That's certainly how I see it, as a stewardship. And I think that time away just gives you a bit more perspective. I think it gives you self-confidence too, to know that if I didn't have this opportunity within a family business, I could always do my own thing too. And I think you get that respect from people within the company too. How do you feel about it, Andrew, having worked outside?
Really, really important. Yeah, could not agree more. Similar story where I spent a good chunk of my career outside. So was in finance for a while, saw the light and decided that one wasn't for me, and did my MBA full time, and then got into the alcoholic beverage space in a wine and spirits company. That time spent outside is crucial, in my opinion. I always say you need to be kicked around by a customer that doesn't care who you are, or a boss. I was really lucky. My bosses were always really fantastic people to work with. But the experience that you get and gain outside is invaluable. Can you tell me about the responsibility that you feel as coming a long-term custodian of a fifth generation family business in Hutchies?
Yeah, it's large, and friends ask me this sort of question too. Do you feel pressure? I never felt pressured to enter the business. I'm very fortunate that there's really good people within the company, really long-term people. I think our average tenure is over 10 years. So I'm surrounded by good people. It's a large company. It's a company where staff, from even when I was a kid, would pull me aside at Christmas parties and say, "We love working here. It's different to other construction companies." Mm-hmm. So when you hear those sorts of things, people who have built their lives within the business, and even people externally and in the market, when they hear the name, they typically have a good reaction, and so there's a lot to be proud of.
So Jack, how are you making your mark personally on the business?
Yeah, again, I think we're so large now, the largest private builder in the country, that I think there's no need to grow for growth's sake. I think if there's an opportunity, we'll always follow it. It's already a great business. I think for me, my mark is really keeping it profitable, keeping it sustainable for the future. And I guess another thing I see as key is bringing people who are, having come through the business as a contract administrator and cost planner, I've sort of identified in my mind some young talent who was sort of, I guess, about my age at the time, who I want to nurture into the future and I see as leadership potential. My main goal was always keeping it going for another generation and not betting the house, as they say. I think some family businesses or new generations can fall in the trap of wanting to make their mark in a way that's perhaps not risk averse enough, and
revolution as opposed to evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Or diversify into a whole different business sector. That's not to say if that opportunity's there, I wouldn't want to take it, but it is to say that I don't feel the need to empire build for the sake of empire building. Mm-hmm. It's already a beast. How do you feel about the future and making your mark as the sixth generation?
It's a good question. I won't be doing it alone, so to speak, and that's a fantastic thing. I want other sixth-generation family members involved in the business. We're Australia's really last remaining and largest independent family brewery since the dawn of beer time in Australia. So less about making your mark, as you said, more about setting ourselves up for growth in the sixth generation, and then handing it over to the next generation in a stronger position. There's nothing I enjoy more than being in a pub with a bunch of Cooper's yeah, that was easy said. with a bunch of Cooper's Decals, tap decals up there, having someone next to me walk up and order a Cooper's, and then I get to jump in and shout them their beer. So Jack, there's nowhere to hide when your family name is up on a building or up on a crane 40 stories high. What does that feel like for you when you walk around Brisbane or the other cities in Australia and you see that?
Yeah, I think to the sense of pride that you spoke about earlier, I think that's certainly there when you see it, but also a sense of responsibility. You know, some of those larger sites might have 300 construction workers on there every day. And you know, it is a relatively high-risk environment still, so making sure our jobs are safe and that there's no incidents. Again, I think we have about 180 projects on foot. We're going to be turning over almost $3 billion in the next financial year. So I think we really need to focus on delivering those projects to a high quality.
Well, Jack, thanks for having me today, mate. We were on the construction site and now in the bar. I'm comfortable here, and I get the sense that you're pretty comfortable here too.
Absolutely, Andrew. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely, mate. Cheers to 110 years of Hutchies.
Thanks very much, mate, and to 160 for Coopers.
Thanks, pal. Cheers.